Hello everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here and we are back with a new video. Before we start with the video, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, the 65% of you aren't subscribed. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you are made aware of any time I upload. If you want to do us a favour anyway and like the video before we start as well, guys, that'll be fabulous. And as I always say, get your comments in the section below because this is an interactive community/forum. Let's get on with it anyway. What we're talking about today is Leeds United's best lineup with Dan James or without Dan James. We're going to get into the meat of it. So, first of all, it's not been an amazing start to the season for Leeds United in terms of the synergy of the squad, the cohesion of the squad. I still think it's a little bit broken at this moment in time. It's not at that full level that we saw last season, especially towards the back end of last season when we won 7 out of 10 and Leeds were just absolutely blistering. Are crowds an impact? I think, yeah, 100%. Crowds are an impact because the players aren't 100% used to it at this moment in time. So crowds will obviously play a bit of a factor. But what we're going to do today is we're going to try to take all those factors away and we're going to look at Leeds' strongest team to go into the Liverpool game and Leeds' strongest team in general. So overall, what I've done straight away is look at the obvious ones. So the indispensables in the squad. Who are the first names on the team sheet? And I've gone with, as you can see on screen now, Ilan Meslier, Firpo. I know he's a new player, but at this moment in time, Junior Firpo just has to start week in, week out because we only have one natural left back, which a lot of people in the January transfer window didn't talk about. But I think that is a little bit of an issue, to be quite honest with you. The fact that who's the next left back in line? Liam McCarron, who's a centre midfielder who plays as a left back in the under-23s, is a little bit of a worry that, but it seems like the rotation option of Stuart Dallas there is an obvious way forward for Marcelo Bielsa. Obviously, Ilan in net, I mean, there's no real explanation needed there. Calvin, no explanation needed there, the best player in the team. Jack Harrison, I think by merit over the past sort of 3 or 4 years, even if he does have dips in this Leeds United side, he is an indispensable on that left-hand side. He's barely missed any games for Leeds United, and I think in this system, he has to start week in, week out. His offensive capabilities are very decent, and defensively, I actually think Jack Harrison is better in terms of output than he is going forward. And obviously, England's superstar, Patrick Bamford, up top. So, the first name I'm obviously going to put in this team sheet. Now, there's a lot of people who've been giving him a lot of slack, which I can't really, giving him a lot of flack, sorry, not slack, which I can't really understand at this moment in time. What this guy's done for Leeds United is mesmeric. It's on different levels to anything you've ever seen before in terms of the value for the player and what he's given to this club in terms of output. And there's a lot of people saying, get him out and put so-and-so in. I think that's absolute madness, to be quite honest with you. And it just shows the fickle nature of football fans. He's not good enough. Maybe that's the end of him. He's blown his casket. It's Luke Ayling. I mean, Luke Ayling starts for Leeds week in, week out. The problem with Luke is, what normally happens is, it takes him a while to get in his stride. I've said this to multiple people off air. Calvin Phillips, when he's back into a Leeds United setup, he is back in straight away. His fitness is impeccable. It's just rare. You never see it in world football. Calvin's levels of performances instantaneously are 8, 9s out of 10s. And we as Leeds fans expect that with every single player coming back into it. But when you look at it, you've got examples of Robin Koch when we've seen him feature after injury, Liam Cooper when we've seen him feature after injury, and others alike. Luke Ayling in particular, it takes him a while to get back into things, maybe 3 or 4 games, and he is the ultimate example of that. Luke Ayling is going to have a fantastic season for Leeds this year, and I think a lot of Leeds fans are getting excited by Jamie Shackleton, but we haven't had too much of a sample of Jamie Shackleton in that role. And I think Luke Ayling has made that role his own for so many years now, and especially in the 4-1-4-1. We see in the 3-3-1-3 that maybe Shackleton on that right wing back is very good. But I think what we do have to see is a little bit more of a relationship building between Rafa and Ayling this season. It does seem a little bit of a breakdown. There seems to be a little bit of a breakdown with each other. I'm not seeing as many underlaps, as many overlaps, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. But Leeds' strongest lineup for me, it just simply has to be Luke Ayling in that side. Number 2. When we're looking at centre-backs, as you can see on screen now, Pascal, all day, every day. I think on that left-hand side, he's the future of Leeds United. We can talk about his performances dipping in certain areas and all this sort of stuff, but I think notoriously, Pascal Strout, when he plays for Leeds United, even if we have a dodgy game at the back, is fantastic. He's very strong, he's very calm, he's very composed, he's got a great relationship with Meslier, which I think when you play just in front of the goalkeeper, I think that's absolutely essential. And with every centre-back I've seen Pascal next to, even obviously Liam Cooper, they do have a good bond, and I think that's because he is calmness personified, and I think he is the Iceman. He's going to be the Iceman for many years for Leeds United, and I think getting him embedded within this system multiple times during the season is only going to aid his future progression. So for me, Pascal starts left side of centre-back week in, week out. I'm going to put this as the Liverpool lineup as well, but I also think in general, this so far is our strongest lineup for me. Get it in the comment section below what you think. The next centre-back who I would, he's always up for debate, but it's always up for debate. A lot of you guys might say Llorente, he's got to start, but believe it or not, there are still people who don't believe Llorente should start in a Leeds United shirt. Didn't have his strongest game against Burnley. I thought it was one of his weakest games for Leeds United, to be honest. I thought Chelsea last season at the Bridge, when the fans were wooing him and all this sort of stuff, was a very weak performance from him, but I thought Burnley really struggled. I thought Chris Wood did a really good number on him, to be quite honest with you. But I think when you look at the general squad depth of Leeds United and Diego Llorente, he just simply has to start. He's too good. He's breaking between the lines in terms of his passing. His ability in the air, I think, is very good. What worries me sometimes about Diego, and this is where I think Pascal's very good. Pascal uses his body, uses his strength, but he's clever as well. Diego, when he's in the box with an opposition striker, an opposition defender, when he's obviously defending set pieces, the pros to his game are absolutely unbelievable. I think there are so many pros to Diego's game. What I'd love for him to improve on, though, is defending against these people in the box from set pieces. He's all over them. He's absolutely all over them. And there was a couple of times against Chris Wood where he just flopped to the ground. Now, if that goes to VAR, it's a penalty. All ends up. Diego's not even looking at the corner being taken or the set piece being taken. It's always at the man. We saw it multiple times last year. I remember it several times actually in the Liverpool game at home. I believe he was marking Milner for parts of it, and he was all over James Milner. And Milner went to the referee and said, "Look, watch, if I go down, am I going to get a penalty?" That is one of those things where Diego drastically needs to improve, because I think he's got away with it so far. But overall, the package that is Diego Llorente is fabulous. And what I love here is the Llorente and Strout partnership that for the last 10 games of the Premier League season last year were absolutely fabulous together. I need to see those two build it up together again. Now, obviously, who's the mainstay? And a lot of people would argue that this guy is the mainstay, but there's so much talk about the midfield at this moment in time. I think this is a discussion to be had. Stuart Dallas in that central midfield role. Now, Stuart is he's part of the fabric of Leeds United. He's so key in exactly what we do. I think in that midfield 2, in that midfield 3, you could look at it if you put Phillips in there as well. I think we hugely miss him when he's not there and he's gone to left back. I think we struggle at left back with him there in terms of width and development and progression, underlaps and overlaps going into the final third. But I think in general, the solid nature of the midfield just drastically improves with Stuart there, because he's got such a defensive mind. But this is a guy who got 8 goals and 3 assists as well from the midfield last season, so he's absolutely huge. He's a central midfielder now for me. He's not a left back, he's not a right winger, he's not a right back. He is a central midfielder, and I think he's made that role his own. So Stuart goes in there every day of the week for me. Now, who goes next to him? This is always a big conversation. Rodrigo's been spoken about. A lot of people are okay with the Tyler Roberts thing. But for me, it's Matthias Klich. Now, we saw against Everton the old Klich. Would he have changed much against Burnley? I don't think so. I think in that formation, the 3-3-1-3, Leeds United are always going to struggle because Calvin's completely outnumbered, and we always force that other midfielder very, very high. So I think overall, Matthias Klich gives you that energy in there in general. So there's an argument to say it would have improved against Burnley. I don't think it would have. But when you're looking at the general scope of that midfield, Matthias Klich does the defensive work much, much better than Rodrigo. Rodrigo is a striker. I do not like him in that central midfield role. He is a striker. That will never work. I will tell you now. That is my opinion. Rodrigo in central midfield will never work if Leeds do not adapt another role for him. If we don't go to 2 up front, playing him as a shadow striker potentially, or just a general striker, that will not work. That experiment will not work. Mark my words. Matthias Klich, though, has been honed in this system by Marcelo Bielsa now for the best part of 3 or 4 years. He's earned his place in this side, and I trust Matthias Klich. I trust Matthias Klich in that role at this moment in time. Rodrigo, I'm sure, is a lovely guy, but I don't trust him as a central midfielder. Klich, I've said it before, I don't think one-on-one he's physical enough. I don't think he's got the attributes to be able to combat with other central midfielders. I've seen that as examples with Kovacic. I've seen that as examples with McTominay. And you've even seen that basically last year with examples such as Brownhill. You know, Matty's Click, when it comes to a one-on-one battle, for me, is a weak midfielder. But does he put the hard yards in? Does he put the hard graft in? Is he very good at intercepting the ball? Is he good at recovery? Yeah, he is. All those things encompass is what a Marcelo Bielsa central midfielder is all about. So Matthias Klick gets in there for me. And this is our strongest, as well as the team that I want to face Liverpool. Now, this is the controversial one. Dan James, does he come in? There's a big talk at the moment with Rafinha. Will Rafinha play for Leeds United against Liverpool? There's the big row going on with Brazil. FIFA are getting involved, trying to get the players back over and making them play even though they're on the red list. So is Rafinha actually going to be able to feature for Leeds United? There could be a scenario where Rafinha actually misses 2 or 3 games. There's also a scenario where he misses 5 days after the international break, which would mean that he misses the Liverpool game. So all of that taken into account, Rafinha for me at this moment in time in my selection process is out, and we are just looking at the Liverpool game right now. Okay, so the Liverpool game right now. So Dan James for me, he's not indoctrinated in the system as of yet. I think as an impact sub, he's going to be well up to it. I think he's been, pre-season for Manchester United. He's played 2 of the 3 games. He's ready to start. Is he Bielsa ready to start? No. And I think that will take time. I think it's going to be a while before we see Dan James feature regularly in this starting lineup for Leeds United. We don't know, is he going to start? Is he going to start on the right? Is Rafinha going to be moved into a central role? I don't think so. But then where is Bielsa going to start him? He's bought this kid for nigh on 28 million. We need to start seeing him in the first team. I get that a lot of people are talking about depth, but you don't spend 28 million on a winger who's going to be used as depth. You do not do that. So then what do you do? For me, right at this moment in time, what can he be used as? How can we use Daniel James as a pure weapon? But what I'd like to see against Liverpool is Leeds to be defensively able, capable, whatever you want to call it. I want Leeds United to show the same level of performance like we did against Chelsea at home last year, like we did at Manchester United at home last year, like we did at Tottenham at home last year. And what I want us to do is sort of soak a lot of the pressure up, like we did, and not just expose ourselves attacking straight from the off. That's not what I want us to do against Liverpool. I want Leeds to play this strategically. Now, what we have with Dan James is a weapon to stretch Liverpool off the bench. Do not forget that Liverpool might have several players out as well. We've got the rule for Rafinha. They've still got the rule for all the the players who are featuring, who could be out of their lineup as well. They could have 5 or 6 missing, which is going to be very advantageous to Leeds. For me, for this game, you start Crysencio Somerville. Crysencio Somerville, for me, starts for Leeds United on the wing. Why? He's a young lad. He's seen what the belief in him has been for the past couple of months. Leeds are not willing to sell him. They're willing to sell Poveda. They're willing to sell Helder Costa. They're out on loan. Will they be featuring back into the Leeds United squads in years to come, Poveda and Costa? For me, no. But Somerville has been given the green light. He's been doing expertly well in the 23s. He knows the system. He knows how to track back. He knows the relationships. He knows how to play on the wing with Leeds. He knows what Bielsa expects. I think it's a lot of pressure right now to start Daniel James. Crysencio Somerville's got a little bit of a swagger, and I think Leeds can use this to our advantage. If we sit in and, contain Liverpool, and we hit them on the break effectively, you've got a guy out there who is terrifying in terms of pace, in terms of Somerville and trickery, and someone who Bamford is going to profit from. But then you've also got that weapon off the bench that is Daniel James, which is going to be able to hurt Liverpool massively in the sort of 75th minute when Leeds are growing stronger in terms of fitness, and then we're bringing someone like that off the bench to really stretch the game. So that's how I would go with it. Let me know in the comment section below exactly what you guys would do. That is what I would say, and I think that's probably the perfect way to go, to be honest with you. And the thing with Somerville is he's going to have to get back, he's going to have to go forward. That's going to have to be a real stressor on him, and he's going to have to understand that. Jack Harrison, the exact same, to stop Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson progressing. That's going to be huge. That's obviously going to weigh Patrick Bamford. The beauty about this is Bamford can drop deep as well in the sort of Harry Kane role. Somerville and Harrison can then bomb on with Bamford's sort of assist role and aiding there in the central forward role, which I think is going to benefit everybody. But I think we need to get that sort of cohesive nature going forward a little bit back in this Leeds side. Click's going to be huge, obviously, like I've said, bombing on forward, but also getting back. That role is vital within this Leeds United side. Phillips doing what he normally does, and Stuart Dallas as well is going to have to be absolutely key alongside Click forming that role. Now, Junior Firpo, we've not spoken about him a lot, but what I want to see with Firpo is a lot more overlapping and underlapping. Somerville, you know, cutting inside, Harrison cutting inside, but then you've got that overlap, and we've not seen enough of those for me in this Leeds United side at the start of this season. And then you see Dallas, then you see Click moving forward, and look how many players you've got going forward there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you've got Leeds forming into that back three like we normally do. But obviously the defensive capabilities there of Leeds United needs to come into the fray, because then obviously, you know, Liverpool are a counter-attacking side as well, so we need to be very aware of that. But that's how Leeds United can look. They really can hurt teams, and as I say, the underlap is always there as well. If, you know, you've got the likes of Somerville and Harrison stretching out wide for Ayling and Firpo, so the fullbacks are vital in this role. And as you can see, the defensive capacity here, this is when Leeds get into a unit and we pack behind the ball. The front three act as a counter-attacking option, and that works for Leeds United. So that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's Leeds' strongest side. I would probably say the strongest side would be Rafinha, obviously, in terms of in replacement of Somerville there. But, you know, for the Liverpool game, I would go with Somerville 100%. I think that's going to aid Leeds United massively. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been a bit different, and I'll see you in a bit.